Let's go. Let's go. I'm sorry if that clap was too loud for you guys. Soul Not For Sale podcast, episode 576. We're getting up there. We got Adam Carolla, Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson gives us an insight into why the conflict between Ukraine and Russia is being backed by the United States. Why Biden keeps injecting money into this situation, prolonging the war, prolonging all the lives that are being lost right now. And it's very interesting. It's for control, but not control of the Ukraine. Although BlackRock and some other entities are going to be controlling certain aspects when this is all said and done. That's for another episode. Not for control of Russia, because that'll just never happen, but control in the United States of America. I never thought of that, but it makes sense. You would think, why would you put all that money overseas in order to control here? But the way Tucker explains it makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. So I'm going to let him explain that, because this is a theory that I never really thought of much. You know, when you see the whole conflict between Russia and Ukraine, and you see what's happening in terms of the United States giving, hundreds of billions of dollars over to this country so they could be in a war, you always just chalk it up to, Biden's terrible. Oh, bad president, senile, blah, blah, blah. All the talking points that people have about him. But when you hear it from Tucker's perspective, you start to really realize, this is another part of the attack within. And that sounds a little weird as I say it, because it's an attack that's going on in Europe, and it's happening to another place. It's between two other places. But when you really look at it, it is contributing to the attack within, the weakening of the United States, and a fight for control by the Biden administration, or whoever's behind all this, because it's obviously not him. It's the Biden administration by name, but not by literal decisions or control. So let's get into that clip. Of course, first, I got to bring you to the store. We have the Public Enemy t-shirt. Google the World Economic Forum. Google Agenda 2030. You'll understand why he's public enemy number one, Dr. Evil himself. And also, we got the certified pure blood t-shirt for those of you that survived the pandemic unscathed and untainted. Get your certificate of achievement now, but also please stay strong over the next 6 to 12 months. You will be tested again. Stay strong. And we have the shot heard around the world. Of course, Trump 2024. Show your support. Show them that the fact that he's been indicted so many times is not making you waver in your love for him or this country. Get yours now, Trump 2024. The black and white version's coming soon. And we have here the We the People shirt, the newest design. This brings such a smile to my face. It's Dr. Evil himself saying that we will own nothing and be happy. And we the people are giving him the one finger salute that he so deserves. All of that's available at IamCoachColin.com. And if you want 10% off of anything you just saw, all you have to do is put in the discount code IamCoachColin. All capital letters, all one word, one L in the name Colin, and that gets you 10% off. And if you've already done that at our store, thank you. You're so appreciated. Now let's get into this clip here.
That's a known. Here's my view of it. I think the lies are unsustainable. Lying is always unsustainable. You're always found out in the end, whether in your lifetime or posthumously. But lies are always revealed by their nature. And these lies are so big and so obvious and so stupid that it's going to be very clear to the majority of voters before the election that the Biden administration has no idea what it's doing, that Joe Biden is not running the government, and that it's not working at all. And I think by that point, we're going to have a real economic contraction. I think we're going to be in the teeth of a very tough recession, and that makes everything much more intense. And so if your goal is to maintain power, and if you think once you relinquish power, the problem with criminalizing politics is the people who do it imagine or know that it will be done to them. So once you start indicting your political opponents, you know that you have to win or else they're going to indict you if they win, right?
Right.
And so they can't lose. They will do anything to win. So how do they do that? They're not going to do COVID again. I know everyone on the right's afraid they're going to do COVID and mask mandate. They're not going to do that. They can't do that. If they've already been exposed, that won't work. There's going to be, no, what are they going to do? They're going to go to war with Russia is what they're going to do. There will be a hot war between the United States and Russia in the next year. And
really?
Yes, of course. They want it anyway. I don't think we'll win it, but that's a separate analysis. But I think it's a political matter. They need to declare war footing in order to assume war powers in order to win. I believe that. And I think the evidence suggests that's true. So if you're worried about our politics getting like even more vicious than it already is, and people being hurt in our politics, which is entirely possible, you should be worried about the prospect of an open war. We're already at war with Russia, of course. We're funding their enemies. So we're fighting Russia. But I mean, an open battle with Russia where we say we're at war with Russia. I think that could easily happen. I think we could Tonkin Gulf our way into it where all of a sudden missiles land in Poland. The Russians did it. Our NATO ally has been attacked. We're going to war. I could see that happening very easily. So if you're worried about that, you need to put as much pressure as you possibly can on the Republican-held Senate to force a peace, which can be done. The United States could force a peace in Ukraine tonight. We're funding one side. There is no Ukrainian army outside of NATO. If NATO withdrew its support for Ukraine, Ukraine would crumble in a day. So we are the only power in the world that can bring both sides to the table to force a peace, which will be unsatisfactory as all forced peaces are. Like each side will give more than it wants, but that's the only option. Otherwise, I would bet my house on it. We are going to war with Russia. And of course, the stakes are everything, our life on the planet. I mean, these are the two biggest nuclear arsenals in the world facing off against each other. So like, this is insane. They're insane. These are people who think men can become women, who believe that face masks save you from COVID. I mean, these are not rational people. Would they go to war with Russia? Of course they would. Again, they want to anyway. And I don't know why Republicans don't get this at all, but they don't seem to get it. And meanwhile, Republican leaders, and Mitch McConnell's senile too, so I don't even blame him, but all the stupid Republican senators and McCarthy in the House, I mean, it's pathetic. These people are all on board with the war against Russia. Why?
Well, I think it may even be scarier because you say they believe masks work or they believe men can become women and so on and so forth. I don't know that they believe that. I think it may be worse. I think they can say or do anything to hang on to power.
Their view of Russia is very, and I can say this as someone who was, against the Soviets when it mattered, when they existed. But I'm maybe the only person in the United States who doesn't really have very strong feelings about Russia. I'm not that interested in Russia. I don't see it as our enemy or ally. I just don't have strong emotions about Russia. So I look at this and I see true hysteria. Like they've convinced themselves that our global enemy is Russia. And I really think they mean that. And certainly the Republicans mean it. The Nikki Haley, Mike Pence, the low IQ wing of the Republican Party, which is most of the Republican Party, is low IQ at the leadership level. They all think that and they mean it. And like someone needs to slap them awake. You're leading this country to its destruction. We've already lost control of the world. The American empire's in free fall right now. And we're going to lose the US dollar. And when that happens, we're going to have real poverty here, like Great Depression level poverty. And it comes from this war. And I don't understand why no one else can see this, but it's super obvious once you leave. Spend a week in Europe and talk to smart people on both sides. Like it doesn't matter what their politics are, and ask them like, what effect do you think the war in Ukraine has had on American leadership in Europe? Dude. And by the way, Western Europe is our only reliable ally in the world. We only have one real ally. And that's Western Europe. And Western Europe is being destroyed by this. The German economy was crushed when the Biden administration blew up Nord Stream. I know nobody cares, but if you think like long term about this, they're really kicking the legs out from under this country in a way that is not possible to repair, at least in the short term.
Well, speaking.
See, and that's what I mean. See, that's what I mean by the attack within, right? It doesn't seem like a war with Russia would be attacking the country within, but it will. It will. As everything Tucker just said, as you lose that dollar, as poverty hits these extremes, there's more of an attack within. And these people, and I know people have to be sick of me saying this stuff, but these people are overtaken by the World Economic Forum, and the World Economic Forum has a plan to not have the U.S. be a superpower anymore. It is part of their Agenda 2030. It is part of the agenda that the U.S. must not be a superpower and other superpowers must take their place. And they even named places. I believe they named China, they named India, they might have named South Africa. I'm not 100% sure, but they named places even that there should be multi superpowers. It's very, very clear if you understand Agenda 2030 to me. It's very, very clear when you hear Klaus Schwab talk about all this stuff. It's very clear when you see how many Republican and Democrats that are a part of the World Economic Forum. That's why when Tucker says, I don't know why the Republicans don't see it, well, there's a bunch of them that do. They're in the World Economic Forum. They're helping this whole thing along. Part of helping it along is staying quiet. We really don't get it. A lot of times people have the mindset, and I've even had this mindset, that, you know, whether it's left or right, they're both on the same team. The whole government's on the same team at the end of the day. And it's not fully true. It is kind of true, but it's not fully true. What's more true is the people who are in the World Economic Forum, they're all in it together. Left and right. They're all in it together. You know, people like Lindsey Graham. Perfect example, especially when we're talking about this whole conflict, talking about war period. Lindsey Graham's a part of the World Economic Forum. It's very apparent what they're trying to do, and they're doing it from within. Like right now, the World Economic Forum and their young global leaders, their members, whatever, what have you, they're like termites inside the country right now. That's what they're like. They're like termites inside America. And they're just eating away at it very, very slowly. And now that I've heard Tucker talk about this war could be a part of it. I wasn't thinking that before. I was just thinking let's be honest, it's what America does. America has a bunch of soldiers in different parts of the world, and there's a bunch of wars going on that aren't classified as wars or classified as military actions, because a war needs to be actually declared and everything like that. But you know what I mean? It's what they do. They run around doing this type of thing. So you think it's just another thing. You think it's maybe just a dumb one. It's a little dangerous. But it's not just that. It's part of this plan. It's part of it. And if anybody comes to Russia's rescue, then this plan will be fully executed. Like China, or any of the people who are joining BRICS right now, if any of those nations come to Russia's aid, come to Russia's side, then it is fully apparent that this is what the World Economic Forum had in mind the entire time. So that's just what I think. Let me know what you think about what Tucker had to say. This was very eye-opening for me because I have been saying it. I even said it at the beginning of this as I was showing the certified pureblood shirt. You know, I'm thinking that they're going to bring back those things too. You know, they've been saying it, talking about variants, whatever, what have you. So I'm thinking they are going to try and bring it back as a means of control as well. But, you know, Tucker kind of opened my eyes that this conflict can be the thing that they use. And it just might work. But what I'm really hoping for, and what I know will happen, is Trump gets in office and I don't want to say it ignorantly, like all this goes away, but he will act so fast to make this stop. So fast. Because like Tucker said, and Trump has said this as well, so many people have said it. The Hungarian PM even said it with Tucker Carlson. He's like, the U.S. has the keys. They could force a peace immediately. It would happen just like that. And if Trump gets in office, it'll be one of the first things he does after, you know, jailing Biden. I don't know if you would actually do that. Yeah, that's just a pipe dream of sorts. But for sure, all of this can go away if the right person gets in office. And I can't see, like I did an episode on Bill Maher just an hour ago or so, how he's having a meltdown about Trump. He's calling Trump crazy and is a criminal and this and that. How could you have Biden at the helm and be so ravenous about how Trump is a criminal and all these things, knowing everything that's going on with Biden, seeing what he's doing with these conflicts, and then somehow not attributing any of it to him? It's just incredible. Incredible. But I know I'm preaching to the choir here, of course. If you haven't liked the video already, like the video, subscribe. It's down there. I know you've been seeing something up over there. I know you've been seeing it. Hit that subscribe button. Helps us tremendously. You have no idea. And other than that, I'm out.